Once you have your list, you can start to set goals on growing your database. So for example, like I said, with that conversion rate, 15 to 20% for every 100 people in your database. If you're starting with 30 people in your database, in the next 6 months, your goal should be to meet 20 more people and get to 50, and then to 75, and then to 100. Right? If you're one of those agents who goes, but Steph, I know 3,000 people and they're all super special relationships. Awesome. I'm super happy for you and your popularity. But what you're going to do is really pare those down to the 300 direct people who have referred you in the last 3 years or have actually done business or tried to do business with you in the last 3 years. 300 max. That's where we're going to start. And by the way, if you are not generating at least 60 deals, 45 to 60 deals from those 300 people, you might have a lot of contacts in there that are not actually database contacts, so you might need to pare it down even further or change up your strategy to market to them to get that conversion rate up to 45 to 60 deals a year. So that is going to be the first thing that we're always working on. We're always working, after we've organized our database, we're always working on growing it. So making sure to further nurture those relationships, increase our conversion year after year, and keep on growing it, right? So you're always setting your next growth goal for networking and growing your database. From there, how are we going to get referrals and repeat business and past clients? Well, what I love about database marketing is it gives you the opportunity to take one deal and turn it into 5. And that, to me, is the basis of the attraction-based business, right? Like, let's really make sure that we're making the most of every single opportunity instead of churning and burning through every lead, every client, and then never speaking to them again. Not only is that not, in my opinion, the proper way to behave in business, this is a people business, but it's a lot less profitable to do that too. So every time you add somebody into your database, maybe you make a new networking connection, you meet another professional, you meet another referral agent from another city, or you close a client and you're putting them as a past client in your database. I want you to be thinking about how can you take that one person and cultivate 5 deals from them within the next 2 years. This is going to be the goal of your referral strategy, your referral marketing strategy, I guess, for your database. This is going to look like a mix of social media marketing and direct marketing. And the reason we're going to do both here is when you are speaking directly to your database, that's really effective. That is nurturing that relationship one-on-one. But you can only do that so often without it feeling redundant or salesy spammy with most people in your database. It's just not appropriate to be calling them every single month. And by the way, call your database is not really coaching, okay? So if you're hearing a lot of that advice and you're like, why does this not make sense? It's because it does not make sense. And so direct marketing is one way, making those calls, getting those face-to-faces, having great client events, having homeowner consultations with those who currently own property, that sort of thing. But you're also going to be implementing social media marketing. So connecting with all of them on social media, engaging throughout the day like a normal human being. So for example, I am connected with just about every single person in my database on Instagram, at least as many people who have an Instagram and currently check in there. And what that allows me to do is it gives me the opportunity to stay top of mind with my people day to day without pestering them about real estate talk that isn't relevant to them. And so the way that I'm engaging with them is really just making a point to comment on their posts, interact with their stories, just kind of respond and engage with them like a human being on a social network. This is so important for top of mind brand awareness because I want you to remember that when it comes to cultivating a really great database, it is not their job to remember what you do. It is your job to remind them. And social media is a really important aspect of being able to generate more referrals and repeat business from that group of people. A lot of times we get your sphere of influence confused with a database. These are not the same thing. Your database is kind of like the Rolodex. I was just watching When Harry Met Sally last night. It's out on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, it's a great movie. It's one of my favorites. And Sally breaks up with her long-term boyfriend and she's at lunch with her gal pals. And she says she's ready to get back in the dating pool. And what does her friend pull out from her purse? this giant clunky Rolodex with like 300 cards of contacts.
Really, Marie?
Well, how else do you think you do it?
I've got the perfect guy.
So you can't really have a Rolodex without understanding who these people are. So this is how we want to kind of imagine this. Your database is that Rolodex where it's that record, that written record of the people who you know, how you know them, what their contact information is, and kind of ways that you can actually network and leverage those individuals. It kind of goes back to your network is your net worth, and you can literally quantify that in your Rolodex or in your contact book. This is your database, people you already know, like, and trust. Your sphere of influence is the sum total of all the people you've ever known, colleagues, friends, friends of friends, extended family. Not necessarily will all those people belong in your database for a good reason. Okay, we want to keep the database specifically people who we have great relationships with and those we want to continue developing relationships with. Now, your referral network can continuously be expanding on and off social media, and the goal of that is to have a method in place to continue meeting new people that you can then bring back into your database. The referral network helps you cultivate new relationships to grow your database, by which we can generate more referrals for our business. Your referral network might be a group of business associates, business networking that you're doing in your area, other real estate agents, maybe from other markets, who can refer you business, other channel accounts like relocation companies, that sort of thing. Now, just by the nature of having this database, that actually creates the math for a very predictable real estate business, because say from every 100 people you have in that database, you can literally expect between 8 and 25 deals from that group alone for every 100 people in that database. And so that actually makes scaling very feasible. And it makes it very clear on how you just need to market to that database, and the way that you market to that database will ultimately result in a predictable number of deals for your business. That's why that's our number 2 system. And finally, number 3, we have to have the means to market on and off social media. We have to market our business in a way that's going to attract new prospects in. And that marketing plan has to be reflective of the first system, which is our irresistible brand, because the brand is the story, but the marketing is the vehicle that distributes it. And number 2, it has to be designed to convert contacts off of social media and into your database. And so the marketing system in itself, I could go on for hours. I don't have the time to do that with you here. But that marketing plan has to be systemized and automated in a way to where you can consistently put the right content in the right places over time, predictably, in order to produce the right results. There's a lot of automation that can happen here. You can still keep it very genuine, very authentic, but it's really making sure that you have the right plan in place to do that well. And then you have to have the right metrics in order to measure what's working and what's not. For most real estate businesses, this looks like a marketing plan that's going to cover 1 to 3 social media platforms, maybe an additional platform like a YouTube or a Google, or maybe even a paid ad source like Facebook or Google PPC. And then finally, you are going to have that same marketing applied to your database, but fine-tuned in a way that's going to speak to them where they're at. And so again, that plan has to be really consistent on and off of social media in a way to procure the right results. And you have to be able to track it to know what's working and what's not. And so I think that we really need to start getting curious as an industry and having real conversations and listening, which is the superpower of any savvy marketer, to what it is they actually want to see and hear. What to them is high value service? Ask your database so that there is no question that if you are fulfilling those wishes, you are serving, not selling. Now, as you are engaging in real people conversations with your database to learn really how they think about real estate, learn about their highest priority problems, their needs, their wishes, their fears, as you are having these conversations, you need to practice extreme empathy. I think so often we kind of get frustrated if clients aren't making a move as quickly as we would like them to, or if they're dragging their feet, or if they're just not getting on the same page as you in terms of understanding the urgency and their position in the market. This can be really frustrating, especially if you are focusing on a niche clientele of homeowners who need to sell their home before moving up. Obviously, in this low inventory market, those are some of our most difficult clients because a lot of them, after having conversations and learning about this, are very afraid of selling their house at the top of the market only to buy at the top of the market, or only to not be able to purchase a home at all because of how competitive the buy side things are. And so you and I know how we can get them over the fence. You and I know what solutions we can offer to them, but to them, it's not just a solution. This deeply impacts their life. This impacts their financial standing. This impacts the very nature of where they're able to rest at night and have their safe space at home. And so we really need to understand that while to us, sometimes when we're this close to business, we're talking about numbers and deals and leads and contacts, that represents a person who has really deeply attached themselves to the comfort of their home, or has really deeply attached themselves to how much they rely on the proceeds from their sale in order to see them on to their next path in their journey. This stuff matters. And so by having very, very deep, sincere empathy for our clients and staying curious and continuing to ask questions about, well, I hear you that you're afraid of buying at the top of the market. Tell me more about that. Tell me more about why that stresses you out beyond the obvious nature of it. Tell me what that actually would mean to you if that did happen, right? Like, can we really have these conversations in a way to craft a more meaningful service and product for our clients? I think we can. And more to the point, I think that we absolutely should, or else we will be seeing ourselves out of this industry as others like the tech giants who have figured this out move us aside. Now, these two things, listening and practicing empathy, never end because the cyclical nature of the market never ends. And so our clientele is going to be constantly shifting in terms of where their attention is, what their needs are, and what's most important to them. But along that way, we want to continue practicing those two things.